here's the big question. So how does a new filmmaker even get the first appointment? How do you get the first time in there? Here's how I think you get it in.
I believe you have 3 movies currently on Netflix. Did you pitch all of those movies yourself to Netflix?
Okay, so the 3 movies, so first of all, Full Out is the first movie. It's a gymnastics movie. The second one's called Kiss and Cry. It's a skating movie. And the third one is called Full Out 2, You Got This, which is actually starting on January 1st. So it's already sold and delivered to Netflix, but they're actually starting airing it on January 1st. It's another gymnastics movie. They were supposed to start it during the Olympics last summer, but of course there were no Olympics. So they held it till January. So, but they're all, I say it's on because it's delivered and that's when it's going to start worldwide. So I pitched, luckily back then when I pitched the first one, they were open to hear pitches from independent producers. I got lucky because the timing, they were a big company, but they weren't what they are today. So they were still taking pitches from indie producers. So I went in there and I pitched them myself. And, you know, I learned a lot. It's a whole different style. They get so many pitches. I didn't know this back then. You got to keep those pitches really short, get to the point, really sweet, because they get so many of them that they get tired of hearing them. So they just want to make a quick decision and hear what you got to say. So I pitched it too long. I had like a half an hour meeting and I probably took 20 minutes to pitch that, other than, 10 minutes of pleasantries. Today, I pitch in 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes max. That's all it takes, because they generally know, all right? So I pitched it and they said, okay, sounds good. We like it. Let's do it. But we don't want to take delivery from you because you're an indie producer. We want to take delivery from a distribution company that we're already set up to do business with, because we don't want to set you up as a new client in our database. It's too much work for us. So I said, but I'm also a distributor. I have my own distribution company, and I make delivery. I make perfect delivery to the distributors, or I'm making delivery to broadcasters around the world. So delivery is not an issue. And they said, yeah, but we're so busy. We have so much going on. We would prefer that we put you through a distributor. And I said, I don't have a problem with that, except for they're going to charge me a full fee for doing nothing. I mean, I pitched you, I did the sale, you want the movie, I'm going to have to pay their full commission. And they said, Jeff, you seem like a sharp guy, figure it out. Go negotiate it, figure it out. So they gave me a list of like 6 or 7 distributors that they recommended who I could do business with. I met with 2 of them, I chose one of them, and I cut a good deal, but not a fantastic deal, because I had no leverage. They knew that I was sent there. So I had to deliver through another distributor. And I was kind of a little peeved by it, but you know what? It was Netflix, that's what they wanted, and what am I going to argue? I mean, so that I had to do that deal. And it worked out well. The other people, they did the deal. Then they actually happened to be a good distributor. They did some other deals too, and it worked out pretty well. So I can't complain about it. So the second time around, same thing. Go to Netflix, pitch them on the movie, love it, let's do it. I said, guys, please don't make me go through a distributor. They said, Jeff, you know the rules, you got to go through a distributor. I said, how many times do we have to go down this? Anyways, same thing happens. I use a different distributor this time, because now it's different times. I actually make, a different type of deal, and it works out. Third time around, let's do it. Please, let me just deliver to you. Please let me deliver to you. If I fail, I said, listen, if I fail, don't even pay me the licensing fee. If I don't deliver on time, exactly per your specs, which I'm doing anyways to these other distributors. I said, they're doing nothing. They're just pushing a button to send the materials that I've given them. I have your delivery list and your specs. I do all the delivery items. Please just give me a chance. The third time they did. So now it's direct. And if there's Netflix people watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate that you let me have that chance. And I made delivery. I made delivery 2 months ahead of their delivery schedule. And everything's fine. And they already confirmed delivery, and it's perfect delivery. And their delivery schedule is 5 pages long. I mean, and by the way, I have to deliver those movies in 18 languages and 6 subtitles. There's 25 versions of them. And delivery alone is a lot more money than a lot of indie filmmakers spend on making their movies. just making delivery. All the soundtracks, all the M&E tracks, everything. I mean, it's a very, very extensive process making delivery. But there's, companies you use who are certified, I forget what they call them, not aggregators, whatever. They specialize in delivering to Netflix, and you hire them and they do your dubs and your this and your that, and you just have to manage it all. And then, some stuff you do your own stuff, your own artwork and things like that. So making delivery is a big part of the business, and you have to do it properly. But I really appreciate that Netflix gave me the chance to do it, and I did it properly, and hopefully that, again, that's part of distribution.
How did you get the appointment to pitch, to even know that your pitch was too long originally and you shortened it down?
Because at heart, I'm a sales guy. I mean, I remember I went from law school into the sales department of a distribution company. That's what you do. You get appointments and you meet with people and you pitch them. And you have to be super, super tenacious and very persistent and polite. And the most important thing is you have to, here's the motto I tell everybody who works for me. You can quote me on this. No means not today. Everybody starts with a no. Everybody starts with a no. And if you take no as the definitive answer, you cannot survive in this business. I say no means not today. It means I'm not going to give you the appointment today. I'm not going to give you the deal. I'm not going to even talk to you. I'm not going to return your email. I don't take that as personal rejection. That's part of the business. It's a pain in the butt, but it's part of the business, and I just keep at it over and over and over in a very nice way. I assume that that's part of the business. And I have 22 years of experience getting no's. There are lots and lots of no's. Lots of doors shut on your face, lots of no return phone calls, thousands, tens of thousands of them. But ultimately, if you believe in your product and you know that you have something to offer to them, sooner or later they'll maybe, give you a shot. I used to say, it takes 100 calls to get an appointment. I don't say that anymore. Now I say it takes 250 calls to get an appointment. The number's gone up. So if you know that going into it, and for all the people who have worked with me in my office, they know that that's true. They might say, no, Jeff, you're wrong. It's now 300, but you know that. That's part of the process, and you just deal with it and you live with it. And is it a little depressing and aggravating? Yeah, of course it is. And are people totally rude and, not returning any emails or calls? It's part of the process.
And when you went in the third time to pitch, what are you bringing with you? Just a log line synopsis?
Okay, I'm an anomaly. Independent producers who are watching this, do not assume this is the Blair Witch Project. This is not what normally goes on. Okay, I had a track record from 2 other films. If I didn't have that, I wasn't even going to get. Every single time you do it, it's a new adventure. Yeah, so they know that I can make the movie on time and on budget and a quality movie. That helps open the door and get the appointment to start with. All right. Secondly, everything got delivered on time. And thirdly, they did well with the movies. Had they not done well, I wasn't going to get another appointment. It's business. It's all statistics. They look at their little iPad in front of you and they say, okay, your numbers are dead. They don't tell you the numbers because that's, confidential. But if your numbers aren't good, you're not getting an appointment, and 2, you're not getting a deal. So here's the big question. So how does a new filmmaker even get the first appointment? How do you get the first time in there? Here's how I think you get it in. You got to go in with somebody else. You got to go in with an established producer who has a track record, who you can make believe in you, or who does believe in you and can hold your hand through the process and give you that credibility and that experience. Because not only what the streamers want and the broadcasters, but your investors, the investors want, they want to know that you're going to be able to deliver what you say you can deliver. And if you haven't done it before, it doesn't mean you can't do it. You probably can do it. It just means they don't know for sure that you're going to be. And so they want to bet on somebody who's done it before. So for, say, a streamer to, say, okay, Jeff will make sure you're product's going to get delivered on time and on budget, the quality, or an investor. I guess I have a track record that helps. It really helps to have a track record. And that's sort of what all the agencies have and all, these are the people want to do business with people that they've already done business before because it's more predictable. So getting in the first 1 or 2 times is way more difficult because you don't have a track record. So I think the best way to do that is to hook up with somebody who does. Unless you can get super lucky and, get your own appointment.
And where would one meet a person of this caliber?
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, generally you're going to go on the internet and you're going to watch all these webcasts and interviews and all this kind of stuff and all these people who are claimed to be, teachers and have master classes and this and that and pros. And it's tricky. It's tricky. I mean, but you kind of opened it up for me to do a pitch for myself here. I mean, I do consulting for those people to find other people. So I don't necessarily do that for people. I have done it. I have done a couple of projects where I've mentored them. Once in a while I'll do that. But usually what I do is, as a consultant, I hire myself as a consultant to hook those people up with other like people, either certain genres. Because, by the way, like when you're dealing with Netflix now, there are, I don't know, there's got to be 500 to 1,000 buyers. I mean, there's so many departments now with so many little niches. So if you fit into this category, like if you're horror, psychological thriller, blah, 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 there's like maybe 5 different categories and you need to go into the right one. So you got to be hooked up with somebody who kind of knows how to navigate that one. It's a little tricky these days.
Okay, here's another question. So I'm at an event, let's say, and it's maybe film oriented and maybe it's AFM, whatever. How am I approaching someone? I see them from across the room. I realize, this person could get me in that door.
Yeah.
How am I approaching them where I'm not disingenuous, how I'm not this sleazy LA sort of opportunist, or maybe all the rules go out the window?
Great question. And it really boils down to how do you do it in a bar? I mean, it just depends on who you are, what mood you're in, how many drinks you've had. It really does. It's a chemistry thing.
Okay. That's
so,
fair. Yeah.
It's true. Like sometimes you just feel a little more daring.
Sure. Yeah.
You don't want to be that sleazy LA type of thing. Nobody wants that. But, sometimes people respect and, it could be, like, I don't know how to do, I was never great in a bar, ironically. I'm pretty good in a sales room, but like I'm not that good in a bar. I just don't feel comfortable in that environment.
I hear you.
And it's the same, standing in the lobby at the AFM, in the Lowe's Hotel there, it's tricky. It's really tricky. And they're usually talking to people and they always look so busy. You don't want to interrupt. So that's got nothing to do with filmmaking and everything to do with interpersonal skills and confidence and humility and whatever. It's chemistry.
Yeah, I think that's a fair answer. You're right, and there are people that are masters at it. I see them at Starbucks, I see them wherever, and they just have that it factor where they can start conversations,
yeah,
and it's not over the top. I need something from you,
right? And
then there's other people, and I can't even say that they're trying to be sleazy or disingenuous. It's just an approach.
Yeah.
And I think some people just are, you're right. I don't really feel comfortable in bars either, so I get
it's a chemistry thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that's the word I use.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't know if chemistry, I guess, can be manipulated. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's also, it's funny, all these markets and festivals have these big parties, right? The problem with the parties is they're so loud, you can't really talk to anybody, you can't engage, but maybe that's better. You can, I don't know, it's a social dynamic that it's tricky. I generally approach it as real business. Like that's who I am, just a real straight up business guy, which isn't, sometimes that doesn't work. A lot of people want it to be more social. And
Yeah. But then sometimes the ones that are really good at that, it's like a flakiness. So there's a really fine line to it. I don't think you can.
And it depends on the other person, right? How they receive that. Some people like to be, have that flaky thing. Some people don't. But you don't know because you don't know the person, so you have no idea.
Right.
It's like blind dating.
Yeah. No, that's true. Good point. Have you only pitched Netflix 3 times and you were successful at all pitches, or there were more times?
There were more times. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were many more times when they were not as receptive, which is fair game, right? You can't like everything.
But it taught you something. I know it's a cliche, but you learned shorten the pitch, maybe what they like.
No,
No?
they didn't like it. They didn't like what I had to offer. So fair is fair. You can't expect everybody to like everything.
Okay.
I mean, I respectfully disagree. I think the other stuff I pitched was in some ways even better, but didn't happen that time. But my motto is no means not today. So those are on the back burner. There will be another cycle. I will pitch them again. I have to wait for new people to come in sometimes, or, people to change departments or whatever. And then, you do it again.
Are you bringing in art, like key art as well, or no? That doesn't factor in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you are?
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, especially at a streaming company. Yeah. At a distributor, you don't have to, because the distributor wants to make the key art. So they actually don't want you. They want to do it. Okay, unless you've had it done professionally, really good, and you're a good artist, whatever. I always bring in key art. One little, to give it gives a visual image, and I bring in a trailer and key art, and a log line. That's it. That's all you need. It's pretty short and sweet.
And so then how does it go? Okay, great. They tell you right there, no, we can't do this. They say, we'll let you know.
Yeah, it's a we'll let you know. But you can, after you leave those meetings, you analyze the we'll let you know for a long time. Was it a good we'll let you know? Was it a medium one? Was it a bad one?
Was there an inflection at the end?
Was there an inflection? Wasn't there an
Raise an
inflection?
eyebrow? Yeah.
Was there an inflection on the let? Was there on the no?
Right.
You drive yourself crazy.
Sure.
And then you just hope that on your follow-up, you get a good result.
And then so what's your time frame for following up?
I usually ask them when I should follow up. I used to ask. Now I say, I'll follow up with you in a week. Is that okay? So, because you don't want to appear that you're bugging them or pestering them or whatever. And so you do, and you got to be good at follow-up. And then, hopefully you get a response. If you don't, you politely follow up, a couple days later. Everything's got to be polite and professional, even though they're not necessarily. I'm not saying Netflix. Netflix is actually the most professional company I've ever dealt
absolutely.
with. And I'm not saying that for the video. It's true.
Yeah.
Their follow-up is unbelievable. They return their calls. For me, anyways, I've been lucky that my buyer has been super, super responsive and polite and professional. Whereas some people, you'll never hear anything from them, distributors primarily. You wonder if your email's even working. You didn't get a bounce back, but you often wonder, So you follow up politely, you be as professional as possible, and just sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.